All right, so part two real quick. If you guys have in your mind kind of that thing that if you continue to repeat it, it's going to have negative consequences or unfavorable, undesirable consequences is what I like to call them. Now, as you have that in your mind, let's think about how we overcame probably one of the biggest and most problematic recurring behaviors that we ever experienced in our life, right? If you guys are in recovery, if you're living daily free from the active addiction that we all share, then you've already experienced the freedom of being relieved of the obsession of a negative behavior, of a persistent, repetitious negative behavior. And so I don't think about this a lot, but I think about when I'm going through it. But right now it's kind of like coming to my mind. It's like the same process that I went through that helped me to change that negative behavior. And last week we talked about higher power. We understand higher power, some of us, and if you don't, you have an opportunity to, but we kind of went in depth about what we're talking about is just access to that thing inside of you that's more powerful than just your will, right? It's above that, it's beyond that. You got to exercise it last week, you get to exercise it today again. What is it that I can tap into that can give me a reason and the strength to do something that I otherwise am unable to do? My thought is, how can I use that same power? How can I access that same power for freedom from these other things that maybe seem like inconsequential? One of the things about this program and my idea is that if I get into recovery just enough, the chances of me going backwards are just through the roof. But if I make recovery a lifestyle, what I mean by that is just finding the next thing that I need to get rid of, right? The next character defect, the next repetitive negative behavior that I need to get rid of. If I continue to climb that mountain, then my chances of recovery go through the roof. My chances of maintaining a life of recovery go through the roof, right? It's kind of like if you are, if you're going down a path or something, the further you get away from the starting point, the harder it is to get back there, right? So we want to get like as far away from where we started as possible. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are stuck in that. They just, if this is addiction, they're like right here and they're just not using and they don't know what else to do, or they're kind of just like white knuckling there. But the idea is, if I can get you not just out of that place of addiction, but way down the road to something far away, I'd rather you fall back, make a slip and accidentally be dishonest and have to make an amends than you be right here and your first slip is getting wasted again. We want to get further away from that, and we do that with this repetition. So the same way we kind of leaned on a higher power, that was my experience, and I'm sure some of you guys, what was that process like? How did we utilize that? How did we gain access to that and use it or how can we use that in reference to this current behavior? How can we go through the same process of maybe considering our responsibility in the situation? Maybe kind of looking at what we can do about the situation. It's my responsibility to stop using tobacco. And the reality is that I put it off a lot because I don't want to be uncomfortable for a couple days of the physical withdrawal, and then I don't want to be psychologically uncomfortable or thinking about it all the time for the weeks to follow. It's a weakness, and when I lean on myself for that strength rather than a group or a higher power, then I always fall back to it. But how can we use that? And a big thing is talking about it, right? So here we have an opportunity to discuss it with each other and go as far as you're comfortable. I'm not trying to get you guys to share your deepest, darkest secrets before you hit a workout, but just being open and honest about it. Hey, I struggle with this, and if it's something that you really do want out of your life, there's help, there's support, right? So that's what today's about, is breaking those negative repetitions. Now, you're about to move into a workout that's going to have a lot of repetitions, and it's your opportunity to make some corrections that you might need to make to these specific movements or to learn them for the first time. So you'll get some solid coaching, you'll go through the movement, identify areas where you need work, and try for this workout to just focus on that one thing, right? If you look at the whole movement, you might get overwhelmed with all the things that need to be fixed. But if you just focus on pieces of the movement that need correction through the workout, that gives you a clear goal and something you can knock out so you don't have to struggle with it anymore. So take a few minutes this time and talk about how you might be able to incorporate access to your higher power in breaking these other negative habits. And then the last thing I want y'all to discuss, if you got some time, is what is a positive repetitive behavior in your life that if you do it 1,000 times, it's leading you right where you want to be, because this ain't all negative, right? We have some good habits too. I exercise pretty regularly. That's a good habit that's keeping, you know, one of my goals intact. It's keeping me headed in the right direction. So let's celebrate the victories we have as well, all right? So you guys enjoy the discussion, enjoy the workout, and we'll see you next time.